Hi, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the trial of Christopher Dontell out of Horry County, South Carolina. So this case, right off the bat yesterday, takes a very interesting twist. Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel where I, your host, Rebecca, recap live trials. So I was all excited, thought, oh my gosh, we got a new trial start. This was yesterday. I'm like, I'm ready. I got my notebook, I'm ready to go. I've got my diamond painting. I'm ready to craft, listen to the trial. Didn't happen. So it was scheduled to start at 11:30 Central Time. Obviously, they're on the East Coast. This is out of Horry County, South Carolina. Now, I don't know anything about this area, nothing. But we tune into the trial, and they don't start. So we're waiting. Nothing happens. Finally, the judge comes out, and he talks to the jury, and he's talking to them about how, this is real life and this is not law and order and blah, blah, blah. And, and then he says, okay. And he looks at the lawyers and he's like, are we ready for opening statements? And the defense says, can we go sidebar? So they all go sidebar. And there was a lengthy discussion, and then they get back to their seats. And the judge says, jury, I'm going to go ahead and send you home for the day. I'm going to recess early today. And I'd like you to come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. So I'm thinking, there's a plea deal in the works here. Something's going on behind the scenes, and it's probably a plea. So this morning I get up, I walk the dog, I've got my notebook, I've got my coffee, my gnome cup, and I'm ready to watch this trial. And I'm tuned into the live feed, and we're waiting. Nothing's happening. So I'm like, there's a plea going on here. There is definitely a plea going on here. So finally, the judge comes out, and we find out that there's a plea. Hello. There's a plea. So we're going to talk about that plea after I tell you about what this case is about, because it's kind of going away, but not going away. His sentencing is scheduled for a different date. But there is way more to this story, because he has a co-conspirator. Yep. All right. So Christopher Dontell, he's 41 years old. At the time he was, I don't know how he was. I don't do math. Back in 2020, October 2020, he was working as the deputy coroner. Now, I thought he was the medical examiner. There is a difference between coroner, medical examiner. Medical examiner is a doctor who specializes in forensic pathology, and he's doing autopsies and what have you. But some counties can't afford them, and they have coroners who will go respond to deaths. And if they're natural, they just sign off on the death certificate. If it's not natural, they can recommend that the body be taken somewhere to another location where there is a medical examiner, and they do an autopsy, which did occur in this case. So anything that's not natural, they generally get it over to a proper medical examiner. Anyway, he's chief coroner, and working at that office is a woman named Meghan Marie Jackson, and it's her job to drive the bodies to the coroner's office, and then they put them in the freezer. I suspect before, she was a transporter, and then probably transport that body to wherever it's going to go to have an autopsy or to a funeral home or what have you. So they were having an affair. Yep. But, and I wasn't positive, but I thought I heard the state say that Christopher Dontell, the defendant, had a wife at the time. And Ms. Jackson had a relationship, an 16-year relationship with the victim who was murdered, Gregory Rice. They had 4 children together. Now, he had an older son from a previous relationship, and then these two had 4 minor children. At the time, it's reported they were separated. So they're having their little tryst, and the state made a speech in front of the judge about what the evidence would have shown should a trial have proceeded. So Gregory Rice, is reported by Ms. Jackson missing on October 5th, 2020. So the police are starting this search. They're searching for a month. Cadaver dogs, the whole thing, drones, you name it. They're out searching for this guy. They finally find his body a month later. It's on along a river called, I'm not making this up, Little P-D, P-E-E-D-E-E. Yeah, that's where the body was found. So that body goes to a different, doesn't go to the Horry County coroner office. Actually, where the body was found was sort of on the border of Horry County and a different county. So I think it went to the other county for autopsy, and he died from multiple gunshot wounds. And the medical examiner said on the autopsy that he lived for some period of time after he was shot before he passed away. And that's really all the information I have about the autopsy. So the police start interviewing Christopher Dontell and Ms. Jackson, and they get statements, and their statements are not really jiving. They're just not, so that enough to give the police material to get a search warrant. So after all their investigation goes down, and I don't know the nuances of the investigation, we're going to learn it eventually, because Meghan has also been arrested. She is on house arrest for murder. So they're finally arrested on November, I want to say 30th of 2020. They're arrested November 11th of 2020. And bond is set. So Christopher bonds out. She bonds out. Like I said, she's on house arrest. A condition of his bond is that he have no contact with her. And did I mention she was pregnant with Dontell's son? Yep. So, and then, of course, Mr. Dontell gets fired from the coroner's office. So both of them were charged with murder, conspiracy to commit murder. He was charged with accessory after the fact. She was charged with something to do with the child. I don't know what a child has to do with this story. We'll find out eventually. So what the state said, and she was very difficult to hear, so I'm trying to piece this together, that the evidence would have shown that, of course, there would enter text messages between the two. Apparently, she at one point said, we need to draw a line here, so I don't know what any of that meant. Surveillance footage that they obtained of Meghan leaving her community the day that he was reported missing. She had a blow-up doll, and they think that she and Dontell were using that for target practice. It was reported that they did target practice a lot. On the day he goes missing, or that evening, his cell phone last pings at 11:06 p.m. near Myrtle Beach. Now, I think at some point that day he had been at the coroner's office, and then she takes him and they take a drive down to Myrtle Beach, or up, I don't know. And That's it. The next day, Christopher's called and said, now here's what he's saying, that he has nothing to do. He doesn't know what went on that night. I don't know what happened that night. I have no idea, but she contacted me the next day and asked me to get rid of the body. So she said, according to him, it was him or you. I need you to go get him out of the cooler in the coroner's office, and get rid of him. So did she shoot this man and then put him in the cooler and then call her lover to come get rid of him? That's what he says happened. So the state would have put on surveillance footage showing that the next day after he goes missing, he went to Lowe's and he purchased a tarp, some straps, some zip ties, all of these things found with the body. He was shown purchasing them. Also, when they found the body, there was a sheet wrapped around the body that matched the sheets that are used by the coroner's office. Then they would have introduced cell phone data showing that the defendant's cell phone pinged at the location near where the body was found. And then they would also have introduced surveillance footage showing him driving towards the location where the body was found and away from the location where the body was found. We know how that works. So originally he was charged with murder, criminal conspiracy to commit murder, and accessory after the fact. So apparently what was going on yesterday is that he had said he was willing to take a plea on the conspiracy and the accessory after the fact, but he was not willing to. He would go ahead and go to trial on the murder. So this is why they had to have him come back this morning. So apparently between yesterday and today, this was not put on the record, but I suspect they just dropped the murder charge. So here's what I think is going to happen. It was not put on the record, but I believe that this man is now going to be the star witness against his ex-lover, Ms. Jackson. Yeah. That should be very, very interesting. Now, she was originally set for trial in this past September, and it was postponed. I think because they were trying to get this guy's testimony. They needed something, in order to be able to, maybe they just didn't have enough evidence against her for the murder. And he's saying, I don't know what happened that night, but, I fully admit that the next day I went and got the body and I took it, I admit it all. You got me. And he's going to take the stand during her trial and say just that, I'm sure. So will she now take a plea? So the judge said to him that the criminal conspiracy, he could, the penalty is 0 to 5 years on that. And the accessory after the fact is up to 15 years. Now, he has been in prison, or jail, not prison. He's been in prison. He originally bonded out, but the condition of the bond was that he had no contact with her. And apparently he did have contact with her. So his bond was revoked and he has been in prison or jail since 2021. So he's got 3 years of time served. Time served 3 years. So, if he gets 20 years, he'll be out. He'll be out relatively, within a, short period of time. Maybe he'll only have to serve 10 or 12 years of that. I don't know. It's not life in prison. And he was smart to have taken that deal. Very smart, because he would have been convicted of murder, I'm sure. And in any case, I look forward to this trial of Meghan Marie Jackson. Look for that trial in the future. We're going to look for his testimony during that trial to put it all together for us. I want to hear what the rest of the evidence is going to show with respect to her. And I want to know what happened to their kid. She was pregnant. Where's this baby? And I do know that the victims, Mr. Rice's oldest son, has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Christopher Dontell and Meghan Jackson on behalf of the 4 minor children that they had together. So I don't know where, if there's any money to be had, they're going to find it and make sure that those kids get it. Thankfully, yes. All right. So have a wonderful day, everybody. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out, subscribe, and consider becoming a member of the channel. I've got a couple of new member perks that I would love to tell you about during my live tonight. I'll be live at 7 p.m. for Craft With Me Wednesday, which is not crime related. I'm actually going to be staining a wood project. So yeah, tune in. Take care, everybody. Bye.